In the foothills of San Jose, California, a sprawling mansion stands in a perpetual state of mystery and intrigue. The Winchester Mystery House, with its maze-like corridors, staircases leading to nowhere, and windows looking into walls, has been a source of fascination and fear for over a century. Its story is steeped in tragedy, belief in the supernatural, and a woman's obsessive attempt to appease restless spirits. The story begins in 1862, when Sarah Lockwood Pardee married William Wirt Winchester, heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, known for its development of the famous rifle that became known as the gun that won the West. The couple settled in New Haven, Connecticut, where they had one child, a daughter named Annie. In 1866, however, tragedy struck when Annie died from a rare childhood disease. The loss of her only child sent Sarah into a deep state of grief that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Then, in 1881, William Winchester, her husband, also passed away after a long battle with tuberculosis. Devastated by the deaths of both her daughter and her husband, Sarah was left alone to face her grief. At the time of her husband's death, Sarah inherited a significant portion of the Winchester Repeating Arms fortune, making her one of the wealthiest women in the world. But this wealth brought her little comfort, for she was haunted by a deep sense of guilt. She could not shake the feeling that her family's fortune had come from the countless deaths caused by the rifle her husband's company had produced. It was in this state of sorrow and desperation that Sarah Winchester sought the advice of a medium. In 1884, she traveled to Boston and consulted with a spiritualist who claimed to have the ability to communicate with the dead. The medium told Sarah that her family was cursed by the spirits of all those who had died at the hands of the Winchester rifle. These spirits, the medium claimed, were angry and seeking revenge. The only way Sarah could appease the restless spirits and avoid their wrath was to build a house for them. A grand, endless house that would serve as a refuge for the spirits and a means of keeping them satisfied. The medium gave Sarah an unsettling instruction. She was to build this house, and construction must never cease. Work was to continue day and night, without interruption, for as long as Sarah lived. The spirits, the medium warned, would be able to sense if the building stopped, and that would bring about Sarah's doom. With these grim words ringing in her ears, Sarah left the séance with a heavy heart, determined to follow the medium's advice, believing it was her only hope for survival. Sarah moved to California and purchased an unfinished farmhouse in San Jose, a property situated in the quiet, rolling hills of the area. There, she began the enormous task of constructing what would become the Winchester Mystery House. The house, which began as a modest farmhouse, would eventually grow into a sprawling, labyrinthine mansion, featuring an astonishing 160 rooms, many of them designed in ways that defied all logic. Construction on the house began in 1884, and from the very start, Sarah was obsessed with making sure that the house was constantly being expanded. Construction crews worked day and night, and Sarah was always present, overseeing the work and giving specific instructions. She would often make sudden changes to the plans, demanding new additions or alterations at the last minute. The house grew in strange and unexpected directions, with rooms being built above rooms, hallways leading to nowhere, and staircases that ended abruptly or turned back on themselves. Doors were constructed that opened into walls, and windows were placed where they served no practical purpose, such as facing into other rooms or into the ceiling. One of the most bewildering features of the house was its obsession with the number 13. Sarah Winchester believed that the number 13 had mystical powers, and she incorporated it into every aspect of the house. Many of the rooms had 13-pane windows, some staircases had 13 steps, and doors and windows were often arranged in sets of 13. There were even 13-note musical chimes installed in some parts of the house, and it is said that Sarah believed the number would protect her from the spirits. As construction continued, strange occurrences began to happen within the house. Workers reported feeling cold spots in certain rooms, and many heard footsteps or voices in the empty hallways. Some even claimed to have seen apparitions or shadows moving in the corners of their eyes. There were stories of ghostly figures walking through walls and disappearing, and the house became known as a hotspot for paranormal activity. Sarah Winchester, meanwhile, was deeply engrossed in the belief that the spirits of those killed by the Winchester rifle were watching her every move. She continued to consult with spiritualists and held regular seances in the house, hoping to communicate with the spirits and keep them appeased. It is said that she often spoke to the spirits, asking for guidance on how to proceed with the construction, and she was convinced that the spirits were advising her on how to design the house. Despite her attempts to satisfy the spirits, Sarah was never fully at ease. The house became a reflection of her mental state, an endless, disorienting maze that seemed to mirror her feelings of confusion and anxiety. The construction of the house never ceased during her lifetime, and by the time of her death in 1922, the mansion had grown into a sprawling, chaotic structure. It had staircases that led to ceilings, doors that opened into brick walls, and rooms that no one ever seemed to use. Many rooms were locked or sealed off, and no one, not even the construction workers, knew the full extent of the house's design. In the years following Sarah's death, the Winchester Mystery House became the subject of public fascination. The mansion, once a private refuge, was now open to the public, and rumors of its haunted nature began to spread. Over the years, there have been countless reports of paranormal activity in the house. Visitors and staff have claimed to see the ghostly figure of a woman dressed in grey, believed by some to be Sarah Winchester herself, wandering through the halls. Others have reported hearing strange noises, such as disembodied footsteps, whispers, and the sound of rattling chains. Cold spots are felt in certain rooms, and some visitors claim to have seen shadows or unexplained figures moving through the house. The house's most famous ghost story is that of the ghost of the Grey Lady. She is often described as a woman dressed in Victorian clothing, with a grey shawl draped over her shoulders. Some believe that she is Sarah Winchester, still roaming the house that she built to protect herself from the spirits. Others believe that the Grey Lady is one of the many spirits that Sarah attempted to appease during her lifetime. Whichever spirit it may be, the ghostly figure of the Grey Lady is one of the most well-known manifestations within the house. In modern times, the Winchester Mystery House remains a popular tourist destination, attracting thousands of visitors each year. The house is known for its spooky atmosphere, and many paranormal investigations are conducted on the premises. Over the years, the house has been the subject of numerous ghost hunting shows, documentaries, and books. Despite all the modern technology and investigations, the mystery of the house and its ghostly inhabitants persists. Some visitors claim to have experienced paranormal encounters during their tours, while others leave the house with an unsettling feeling that they've been in the presence of something truly supernatural. The Winchester Mystery House, with its strange architecture and eerie history, continues to stand as a testament to the belief in the supernatural and the lengths to which one woman was willing to go to appease vengeful spirits. The mansion remains an enigmatic symbol of grief, obsession, and the haunting legacy of the Winchester rifle. Whether it is truly haunted or not, the house holds a lasting grip on the imagination, and it is likely that its eerie mysteries will continue to intrigue and terrify visitors for many years to come.